Atma Namaste, everyone. In this short video, we will talk about Arahthic Yoga preparatory level and the subsequent Arahthic levels that we go through in this path. So as the name suggests, we start with the Arahthic Yoga preparatory. The word preparatory means it is preparing us for something. In the preparatory level, we have learned about the 5 pillars: devotion to the Supreme Being and reverence to Guru, purifications, meditations, service and tithing, and study. So these are the foundation on which the further levels are built. Now, for us to understand what are these levels, now let's take a step back. What is the purpose of what we are doing? What is the purpose of Arahthic Yoga? While Master said that so that we become very dynamic, we evolve to a very high degree, so that we could serve the divine plan. In one of the meditations, which is meditation on the soul, especially, we talk about that the incarnated soul tries to achieve oneness with the higher soul, right? And all the other meditations that we have learned are kind of aligned towards that goal. Okay, so if that is the goal, wherein the incarnated soul merges or becomes one with the higher soul, achieves union with the higher soul, there has to be proper preparation. And each Arahthic level is a stepping stone in that direction. In the preparatory, Master has given the 5 pillars, so we start taking those steps. Even before Arahthic preparatory level, we have been taught meditation on twin hearts, which is the foundational meditation in itself, which is the base for what we do, in the Arahthic preparatory, the different meditations that we do, and other practices. Now, let's take one more step back here. When you, let's say, want to go from point A to point B, right? So that these points become connected to each other. Imagine there are the 2 different ends of a river. Okay, so for you to reach from here to here, you need a bridge, right, on which you can walk or drive, and then you reach on this side. Now, for the incarnated soul to achieve union with the higher soul, it is like it has to cross something, or there has to be a bridge so that the union is enabled. Now, this concept has been taught to us. We have learned about something called the Antakarna, right? We have also learned something about the spiritual cord. And Master clarifies that the spiritual cord and Antakarna, or the spiritual bridge, are, strictly speaking, 2 different things. The spiritual cord is something which the higher soul extends towards the incarnated soul, whereas the Antakarna, or the spiritual bridge of light, is something which the incarnated soul builds towards the higher soul. And he further clarifies, saying that this Antakarna has to be built in every lifetime. However, if someone has done this before in some other lifetime, it is easier for that person in the present lifetime to do it again. So now think about a physical bridge. To form a bridge, you need a design, you need raw materials, like, for example, the bricks, the cements, the iron rods, and many other raw materials before you can actually start building that bridge, right? So if the ultimate goal is to have that bridge formed so that the incarnated soul can unite with the higher soul, there has to be collection of the raw material, preparation for this, right? And it starts with the twin heart meditation that we've learned in the beginning. Then in the Arahthic preparatory, master has given the 5 pillars, which lay the further foundation of that. Now from there comes Arahthic Yoga level 1. Arahthic Yoga level 1 is based on the principle that each of the chakra has the spiritual function and psychological function also. And the higher chakras have, all the higher chakras have a lower corresponding chakra. And there has to be done something that the higher chakras become more activated so that they can control the lower chakras. So in Arahthic Yoga level 1, we are taught to activate the chakras. Right? So level 1 deals with activation of chakras. Now you might think, okay, we have talked about activation in even advanced course or psychotherapy course, where we talk about how active a chakra is. But the chakra can be active at different levels also. So there is a certain aspect of chakra which is not fully activated and it has to be activated. The spiritual function of each of the chakra, the psychological function, and so the psycho-spiritual function of each chakra has to be properly activated, awakened. So when we come to Arahthic Yoga level 1, some of these aspects start to develop, and the not only the activated size or the stimulated size of the chakra, but we also look at the functional size of the chakra. How much of, let's say if somebody has this much of energy in a chakra, but how much of it is being properly utilized, the functional energy of each chakra. So in level 1, we start activating. Now, as we said earlier, that the higher chakra, each higher chakra has a corresponding lower chakra, right? So now, and the goal is that the higher chakras can control the lower chakras. So which means there has to be a greater integration, greater connection between the higher and the lower. Now again, you might think, well, we know that each chakra is connected to each other chakra, right? In general, we know this network. They are not really separated or disjoint. But what is the meaning of this? That the higher chakra is now integrating with the lower chakras. Again, we have to think not only at the etheric level, but also at different levels. So as we said earlier, there are psycho-spiritual functions of each chakra. So when we talk about the integration in this context, we are talking about those functions. So the higher chakras have to be properly related to the lower chakras. So each chakra, for example, you may think, okay, there is a correspondence between the heart chakra and the navel chakra. This is just one example. There are such pairs that we need to understand and learn the technique to start relating so that more and more the higher chakras can take control of the lower chakras. Right? So this is called relating the chakras. Now comes the level 3. In level 3, till level 3, we have still been, in a way, preparing for the building of the Antakarna. We have not yet started really building the Antakarna as yet. In that sense, even level 1 and level 2 are preparatory. In that sense of it, right? We are still preparing, we are preparing the raw materials, gathering the raw materials, making the body stronger, right? So that we can withstand more energies. Because we have to understand that with each level comes also much high magnification of energies. The downpour of energy is much more. So if the body is not strong enough, if the body is not ready yet, then this downpour of energy can overwhelm the body and can cause more harm than good. Right? So in that sense, also we are preparing. That's why in the preparatory course itself, the first thing is about the physical and the breathing exercises, right? The purifications are so important, very, very important. And then also the inner purification, which is emphasized enough in the preparatory course. So as a spiritual disciple, as a spiritual aspirant, we continue to purify ourselves over a period of time. in the preparatory level, then from there to level 1, from there to level 2. In level 3, which has its own sub-levels, right? In level 3 is actually where the internal alchemy starts taking place, and the actual building of the Antakarna starts taking place. Okay. Again, let's take a step back. When you were doing Arahthic Yoga preparatory, you were taught that when you practice Arahthic Yoga, we develop golden body. I hope you remember that. Now, this golden body, again, it's not something that it gets injected from somewhere. Okay. We also already know something about what happens in the navel chakra and the secondary navel chakras. There is this synthesis of energies taking place, and that's where the gold is forming. Okay. So again, preparatory level, level 1, level 2, they are enabling us to gather more and more refined energies and more blending, integration, synthesis of energies taking place, so that we are now ready in level 3 that this so-called gold or golden energy starts appearing in our chakras, in our auras. And the Anthakarna, which we talked about earlier, starts to take shape, so to speak. The bridge, it's like at level 3 is when you actually start now putting the bricks together. Okay. Okay, it is building up. From level 3, which has its own sub-levels, we go to level 4, which is about activating the 12th chakra. Yet again, you might think, oh, we have learned about 12th chakra already in the soul class, right? Arahthic Yoga Preparatory 1 class. And we talk about that it starts. But then, yes, it may be starting to a certain extent, but the real blooming of that lotus, the spiritual lotus, starts to take place when we reach level 4. So from a point of light to a small bud of light to a more flame to a much more bigger flower. So there is this process of evolution of this 12th chakra itself, if you understand this. So at level 4, this is what starts to happen. Level 5 deals with the development of the unicorn light. We'll not talk much about it right now, but just to give you an idea. Now, having said all of that, you might think, okay, that's good to know about these levels. Now, how do we reach these levels? What is the process? What is how fast can I go or how slow can I go? Either way. So for that, let me share my screen, which briefly deals with a quick explanation of these timelines. So hopefully it will help you to visualize this. Now in this image, you see after doing Arahthic Yoga Preparatory, you're required to practice. Practice. I will emphasize the word practice. All of us are required to practice for at least 2 years, all the 5 pillars. Right? It is not an optional thing. 5 pillars means when you think of a pillar of a building, just imagine if you take out one of the pillars, will the building remain stable? No. So if the Arahthic Yoga Preparatory has 5 pillars, you are required to practice all the 5 pillars. Okay, that is very, very important. Now, before I explain further, I will just read some couple of lines from Master's own words that he has mentioned. A spiritual aspirant should stay in the preparatory level for 2 years or for a much longer period of time and must put the teachings into practice. Spiritual development is not just knowing the teachings or techniques, it is remembering the teachings, it is putting them into practice. Ultimately, it is mastering the teachings. So knowing the teachings or the spiritual techniques is nothing to be proud of. So he clearly articulates that, right? That we need to spend really good time to internalize the teachings of preparatory itself. But assuming that you have been doing it for 2 years, so usually people may measure it from the perspective, okay, let's say today I do my Arahthic Yoga preparatory. I, I have a certificate with me, so I am eligible, at least from that perspective. Today is what? 24th of October. So 24th of October, 2 years later, I've completed 2 years. I become eligible to at least start applying for level 1. This is also with the assumption that the practice has been in place. From level 1 to go to level 2, you need to practice level 1 for 1 year. Then from level 2 to apply for level 3, you need to practice level 2 for at least 2 years or more. Again, I will just read a line from Master's own words here in this book, which says, going rapidly through the different levels of Arahthic Yoga is sheer foolishness. Nothing good will come out of it. Please understand that this is not a race. This is not a race. This is about your own development, your own sadhana, and your own progress. So there's nothing to be rushed about. We take it, internalize the teachings, really practice them, put them into use, and then move further. From level 3, which has its own sub-levels, so if you practice each sub-level for 1 year, eventually, so from level 3 to level 4, Master says that you should practice it for 2 to 3 years or much longer before applying for level 4. And then from level 4 to level 5, he again says, practice level 4 for 2 to 3 years or longer before applying for level 5. Okay. And then you remain, of course, there are many other levels. We will not go in all of those details, but remember, then again, just to refer back his words, he says, you must, or one must remain in level 5 until, now listen carefully, until the person has mastered Arahthic Yoga preparatory level, Arahthic Yoga level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. The word master has used here is mastered the level. And that comes with a lot of practice. But in general, if you think about it, if you just calculate the mathematics here or do the mathematics, it will look like, okay, it takes about 10 years for you to go from preparatory level to the level 5. And some disciples will say, hey, Amma, that is a lot of time. That is a long, long time. But what many people do not realize is that it may have taken even hundreds or thousands of years for us to reach to present level of evolution. Okay. And in comparison of that, 10 to 20 years is nothing. Okay. 3 to 5 incarnations is nothing to achieve a ship and mastership. So to put it in again, Master's words, he says, be realistic in your aspirations, okay, in your spiritual objective. But this is how the whole cycle is. So from preparatory level to level 5, if with the assumption that you have really practiced it, it will take you 10 years to reach here. And then of course we remain in this level for certain longer period of time till we have mastered the level 5 itself, and of course all the level below that as well. Okay, just to conclude, I will again take the help of Master's words. Spiritually evolve rapidly, not for the sake of pride or spiritual liberation. Accelerate your spiritual evolution so that you can be of greater service to others. Service, right? The word service. So that you can become a better divine servant. And that should be your primary goal. Be of service to others, become a humble servant of the planetary God, and to serve, and serve. So as in another video, we'll talk about the uh, the process of application. How do you apply for the next table? And before I close this video, I will again emphasize on the fact or even the word called service. You can do all other things, but if enough service is not there, your foundation for further progress will remain weak. So please take a note of that and really see how you can serve the mission of your own Guru, Sadguru, Master Choa Kok Sui, his work, and which eventually is part of the divine plan. So hope this short video helps you in understanding the Arahthic Yoga level preparatory and the subsequent levels. It was just a brief glimpse into it. And if you have more questions, you can reach out to your mentors or foundation, and we will be happy to clarify your doubts. Take care. Atma Namaste to all of you. Bye.